President Trump has railed against the immigration family reunification program since 2016, making it a centerpiece of his campaign for president and tagging it with a negative nickname. But now that the First Lady's parents, his in-laws, have used the program to become U.S. citizens, critics are the ones having the field day.
They have travailed a wonderful journey like most have. Millions have in getting citizenship.
Thursday was a glorious day for the parents of First Lady Melania Trump, the day when they finally became American citizens in a private ceremony at the federal building in Manhattan, following the same rules that all legal immigrants follow to become citizens, according to their attorney.
The application, the process, the interview was no different than anybody else's, other than security arrangements to facilitate today. This very important dialogue that we're having on immigration, this is an example of it going right.
But the irony is the program Melania Trump's parents used to immigrate to the U.S. and then become citizens, the family reunification program, has been one of President Trump's favorite targets. He calls it chain migration and has repeatedly denounced the program in the strongest possible terms, charging that it allows criminals and security risks to enter the country and take jobs away from Americans.
Under the current broken system, a single immigrant can bring in virtually unlimited numbers of distant relatives.
We want to get rid of chain migration. Ending chain migration.
Ending chain migration.
You have chain migration. This was the Schumer deal. Schumer wanted this.
We have to get rid of chain migration, all of these things we've been talking about.
A guy comes in, and then you have to bring his aunt, his uncle, his father, his grandfather, his grandparents.
A total disaster which threatens our security and our economy.
His third niece by a different marriage.
And provides a gateway for terrorism.
They think it's good politically. I'll tell you what, I think it's horrible politically. What do I know? But I did become president in like a year and a half.
But the Washington Post reports studies have shown that immigrants have boosted the economy, not damaged it, and they commit crimes at a lower rate than native-born Americans. And as for the president's charge that immigrants can bring in their third cousin through a different marriage because of chain migration, the truth is the only family members eligible to be brought in are parents, spouse, children, and brothers and sisters.
At the same time, his wife has immigrated, her parents, and now they were sworn in today as U.S. citizens, which I think is wonderful. You know, I congratulations to Melania, but to then tell other people because they happen to be brown skin or whatever it is that the president doesn't like, that they can't bring in their parents, does seem very, very wrong to me.
Prominent L.A. immigration attorney Carl Schusterman has been on both sides of the equation, having served as a trial attorney with the Immigration and Naturalization Service before he went into private practice. He believes the U.S. immigration program should reduce but not destroy the INS family reunification program.
I would devote some of those family-based people to the employment-based categories, because there's Indian and Chinese programmers, cancer scientists, waiting 10 or 20 years to get green cards. So I would move some of those family categories to employment, but to say that you can't bring your parents into the U.S. or you can't bring your spouse into the U.S., I think that goes against all of our traditions.
Now, a White House spokesman declined to comment about the criticism Thursday. Republicans are on their August recess now, and the president is on a working vacation this week at his private resort in Bedminster, New Jersey. But supporters of the president's campaign to slash family-based migration argue that the First Lady and her family have done nothing wrong and have not violated the current laws. They say wanting the rules to be changed for the future doesn't reduce the legitimacy of following the current rules, which Melania Trump's family has done.